The cream-colored envelope sat on Maya Chen's coffee table like a tiny bomb waiting to detonate. She circled around it for the third time that evening, her tea growing cold in her hands as the Shanghai skyline glittered through her apartment window. Carter Industries cordially invites you aboard the Phoenix. Black tie, Dock 7, Victoria Harbor. Maya was a financial analyst, someone who lived by spreadsheets and probability models. This invitation represented something she couldn't calculate: the possibility of running into Derek Lee, her ex-boyfriend who had shattered her heart 6 months ago. The memory still stung. Walking into their shared apartment to find him with someone else, his casual shrug, his words, "You were always too ordinary for someone like me." Her phone buzzed. It was her best friend and colleague, Lisa. "Open it already. We're going. I already confirmed for both of us. We're something that makes him regret every life decision." Maya laughed despite herself. Lisa had been her anchor through the breakup, taking her to karaoke bars and late-night dumpling runs, reminding her that Derek's betrayal said nothing about her worth. Still, the thought of facing him made her stomach twist. 3 days later, Maya stood before her mirror, barely recognizing herself. The jade silk dress hugged her curves perfectly, its high slit revealing just enough leg to be daring. Her straight black hair fell in glossy waves past her shoulders, and the ruby lipstick Lisa had insisted on made her look powerful, untouchable. "You look like you could buy and sell him," Lisa declared, appearing behind her in a stunning gold gown. The harbor was alive with lights when they arrived. The Phoenix rose from the water like something from a dream, sleek, modern, impossibly luxurious. Music drifted across the water as they boarded, and Maya's heels clicked against polished wood that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Waiters glided past with champagne flutes, and the deck sparkled with Hong Kong's elite. Tech entrepreneurs mingled with fashion designers, while social media influencers posed against the yacht's dramatic backdrop. Maya accepted a glass of something expensive and bubbly, trying to blend into the elegance around her. Lisa had already spotted a celebrity chef and disappeared with promises to return shortly. And then Maya felt it, that crawling sensation of being watched. She turned, and there he was. Derek Lee stood 20 feet away, looking infuriatingly handsome in a tailored black suit. But it wasn't just him. His arm was draped around Vanessa Wong, a television host with perfect features and an even more perfect figure. Maya recognized her from billboards across the city. Derek's eyes locked onto Maya's, and that familiar smirk spread across his face. Not the smile of someone happy to see an old friend. The smile of a predator who'd spotted easy prey. Maya's grip tightened on her champagne flute. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to hide, to disappear before he could reach her. But her legs wouldn't move. She stood frozen as Derek whispered something to Vanessa and began walking toward her, that confident swagger she'd once found attractive now making her sick. This was going to be a disaster. She could already see how it would play. Derek's cutting remarks, his ability to make her feel small with just a few words, the public humiliation she'd barely survived once before. The distance between them closed. 20 feet became 15, became 10. Maya's heart hammered. She set down her champagne before she dropped it. Derek was 5 feet away now, opening his mouth to speak, when someone else appeared at her elbow. "There you are," a smooth, deep voice said beside her. "I've been looking everywhere for you." Maya turned and found herself staring into the face of Ethan Carter himself, the billionaire tech mogul whose name was on the invitation, whose face graced business magazines across Asia, whose company had revolutionized cloud computing and made him one of the richest men under 40. He was even more striking in person than in photographs, with sharp cheekbones, intense dark eyes, and in presence that commanded attention without effort. And he was looking at her like she was the only person on the yacht. Maya started confused, but Ethan's hand was already settling on the small of her back, warm and steady, as he guided her slightly away from Derek's approach. His touch sent an unexpected jolt through her. "Derek Lee," Ethan said coolly, finally acknowledging her ex, "I didn't realize you'd be attending tonight." Derek's confident stride faltered. "Mr. Carter." I didn't know you and Maya were acquainted. Acquainted? Ethan's eyebrow lifted slightly, amusement playing at the corner of his mouth. That's an interesting choice of words. Maya's mind raced. What was happening? Why was one of the most powerful men in Asia pretending to know her? But as Derek's smirk faded and uncertainty crept into his expression, Maya decided to trust this unexpected intervention. She leaned slightly into Ethan's touch, just enough to sell whatever story he was telling. "It's good to see you, Derek," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "I hope you're enjoying the party." The dismissal in her tone was clear. Derek's jaw tightened, and Vanessa appeared at his side, looking between them with sharp, calculating eyes. "We should catch up," Derek said, his voice carrying an edge. "I'm sure there's a lot you want to tell me about. How you've been." "Actually," Ethan interjected smoothly, "Maya and I have somewhere to be. If you'll excuse us." Without waiting for a response, he guided Maya away, his hand never leaving her back, steering her through the crowd with practiced ease. Maya's heart pounded, but whether from a near confrontation with Derek or the proximity of this enigmatic billionaire, she couldn't say. Thanks for reading Chapter 1. If you're enjoying this story, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Share this with friends who love romance stories with a twist. Chapter coming up, you won't believe what happens next. Ethan Carter led Maya through the crowd with the confidence of someone who owned every space he entered, which, in this case, he literally did. They moved past clusters of guests, up a spiral staircase to the upper deck where the crowd thinned considerably. Maya's mind spun with questions, but she waited until they reached a quieter corner, shielded from view by white silk curtains that billowed in the harbor breeze. "I should thank you," Maya said, finally finding her voice. "But I'm also very confused about what just happened." Ethan released her and leaned against the railing, studying her with those intense eyes. Up close, she could see flecks of gold in the dark brown and a small scar above his left eyebrow that somehow made him more human, less like the untouchable figure from magazine covers. "Derek Lee has a reputation," Ethan said simply. "I've encountered him at various events. He's the type who enjoys making people uncomfortable, especially women he used to date. I saw him heading toward you with that look, and I've learned to trust my instincts about these things. So, you just decided to rescue a complete stranger?" A slight smile tugged at his lips. "You're not completely strange. You're Maya Chun, senior analyst at Brightstar Financial. You wrote a paper last year on emerging market trends that my investment team found remarkably insightful. When I saw your name on the guest list, Lisa Wong's +1, I was hoping for a chance to discuss your work." Maya blinked. "You know my work? I make it my business to know intelligent people. Your analysis correctly predicted 3 major market shifts that most experts missed." He paused. "Though I admit, when I saw Lee approaching you with that particular expression, my interest became more personal." Before Maya could respond, voices drifted up from below. Derek's voice, loud and carrying. "Did you see that? Maya with Ethan Carter? Please. She's probably working as a server here, and he felt sorry for her." Maya flinched. Even now, Derek knew exactly how to cut. Ethan's expression hardened. Without a word, he held out his hand to her. "Dance with me." "What?" The music started. "Dance with me. And let me make something very clear to everyone down there." Maya hesitated only a moment before taking his hand. His fingers closed around hers, warm and sure, and he led her to the center of the upper deck where a live jazz band had begun playing. As they moved together, Ethan pulled her close, one hand at her waist, the other holding hers in a classic waltz position. Maya had taken ballroom dancing lessons years ago, and her body remembered, following his lead naturally. "Why are you really doing this?" she whispered as they turned. Honestly, Ethan's breath was warm against her ear as he leaned closer. "Because men like Derek Lee have made a career out of diminishing remarkable women. And because watching you walk in tonight, seeing the way you held yourself despite clearly not wanting to be here, I thought you were the most interesting person in a room full of people trying desperately to be interesting." Maya's heart skipped. "You don't even know me. Then let me know you." His eyes met hers, and the intensity there made her breath catch. One night, no pressure, no expectations. Just let me show Derek and everyone else down there that you're exactly where you belong. The song shifted to something slower, more intimate. Around them, other couples had joined the dancing, but Maya barely noticed. All she could feel was Ethan's hand steady on her back, the way they moved together like they'd done this 1,000 times before. There's something you should know, Maya said quietly. Derek was right about one thing. I don't belong in this world. I'm a financial analyst who works 70-hour weeks, and whose idea of luxury is takeout from somewhere with actual napkins. I don't attend yacht parties or rub shoulders with billionaires. And I'm someone who started in a tiny apartment, coding until 3 a.m., living on instant noodles and ambition, Ethan replied. The yacht, the company, the magazine covers, that's just wrapping paper. It doesn't define who belongs where. The music ended, and as they stopped dancing, Maya became aware of eyes on them. Looking down at the lower deck, she saw Derek staring up at them, his expression thunderous. Vanessa had disappeared, apparently not interested in playing second fiddle to Derek's fixation on his ex. He's watching, Maya murmured. Good, Ethan said. Then, so quietly only she could hear, I'm going to kiss you now. If you don't want me to, step back. Maya's pulse thundered in her ears. Every rational thought told her this was crazy, that she barely knew this man, that this was all happening too fast. But she didn't step back. Ethan cupped her face gently, giving her one more moment to change her mind. When she didn't move, he closed the distance between them. The kiss was nothing like Maya expected. Not performative or aggressive, but slow and deep and devastating. His lips were soft but insistent, and when his hand slid into her hair, tilting her head to deepen the kiss, Maya forgot about Derek, forgot about the watching crowd, forgot about everything except the way Ethan Carter kissed her like she was precious, like she mattered. When they finally broke apart, the deck had gone silent except for the music. Every person at the party was staring at them. Ethan kept one arm around Maya's waist as he addressed the crowd, his voice carrying easily. Everyone's welcome to continue enjoying the evening. The buffet is on the main deck, and the fireworks display begins in 30 minutes. Just like that, he'd acknowledged the moment and dismissed it, giving the guests permission to return to their own entertainment. The crowd slowly began to move and talk again, though Maya caught more than a few phones pointed in their direction. That just went viral, didn't it? Maya said faintly. Probably. Ethan didn't sound concerned. Are you okay? Was she? Maya's lips still tingled from the kiss, her heart still raced, and somewhere below, Derek was probably having a meltdown. But for the first time in 6 months, she felt powerful instead of broken. I think so, she said, though I'm not sure what I just agreed to. Ethan smiled, a real smile that transformed his face from handsome to devastating. How about we start with dinner? There's a private dining room where we can actually talk without an audience. Maya glanced down at the lower deck one more time. Derek had disappeared, probably to nurse his wounded pride somewhere out of sight. Lisa caught her eye from across the crowd and gave her an enthusiastic thumbs up. Dinner sounds perfect, Maya said, as Ethan led her toward the private dining room, his hand still warm on her back. Maya couldn't shake the feeling that her life had just changed in ways she couldn't yet comprehend. She'd come to this party expecting humiliation and got a billionaire's kiss instead. The night was far from over. The private dining room was intimate and elegant, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of Victoria Harbor's glittering skyline. A table set for two waited in the center, complete with candles and a bottle of wine that probably cost more than Maya's monthly salary. A server appeared silently, pouring wine and setting down plates of food that looked like edible art. Seared scallops, delicate microgreens, something with gold leaf that Maya was almost afraid to eat. You don't have to do all this, Maya said as the server disappeared. The kiss was more than enough to make your point to Derek. Ethan sat across from her, his tie loosened slightly, looking more relaxed than he had all evening. What if I wanted to do this anyway? Why would you? I told you. I find you interesting. Your market analysis paper wasn't just technically sound, it showed creative thinking. You made connections other analysts missed because you weren't afraid to look at unconventional data sources. You took a sip of wine. That kind of mind interests me. Maya felt heat rise to her cheeks. You're serious. You actually read my work. Every word. Though I admit, meeting you in person has been far more interesting than I anticipated. His eyes held hers. Tell me something. Why did you stay with Derek as long as you did? Your intelligence is obvious, yet he treated you like you were less than him. The question was direct, almost invasive, but something about Ethan's genuine curiosity made Maya want to answer honestly. Love makes you blind, she said quietly. Or maybe I made myself blind. Derek was ambitious, successful, confident. I thought his drive would push me to be better. Instead, he made me smaller. She met Ethan's gaze. I'm still working on remembering who I was before him. For what I saw tonight, you're doing fine. They ate in comfortable silence for a moment. The food was incredible, but Maya barely tasted it. Her mind kept replaying the kiss, the way Ethan had held her, the looks on everyone's faces. Can I ask you something? Maya said finally. What happens after tonight? Because in about 3 hours, I turn back into a pumpkin, or rather, a financial analyst who takes the metro to work and lives in a studio apartment. She gestured around them. This isn't real. Ethan leaned back in his chair, studying her thoughtfully. What if I proposed making it real? Temporarily. I don't understand. I have a problem, Ethan said. Being one of Asia's most eligible bachelors, as the press likes to call it, comes with constant scrutiny. Every woman I'm photographed with becomes headline news. Every business lunch gets interpreted as a romantic connection. It's exhausting and it's bad for business. I still don't see what this has to do with me. What if we dated? Publicly, officially, for a set period of time, say 3 months. Long enough to satisfy media curiosity, short enough to have a clean end date. Maya set down her fork. You want me to be your fake girlfriend? I want you to be my very real public girlfriend, with the understanding that it's a limited arrangement. He leaned forward. Think about it, Maya. You get protection from Derek's harassment, access to events and connections that could advance your career. I get someone intelligent and genuine by my side, someone who won't try to extend the arrangement beyond its expiration date. This is insane, is it? We're both adults with something the other needs. I need someone to make me appear more human, more grounded. You need a shield from your ex, and perhaps a confidence boost after what he did to you. Maya's mind raced. Everything about this was wrong. Calculated, transactional, the opposite of the authentic love she'd always believed in. Yet she couldn't deny the appeal. 3 months of not being the woman Derek destroyed. 3 months of holding her head high at events where Derek might appear. 3 months of not feeling small. What would you get out of this really, she asked. Be honest. Ethan was quiet for a moment. My board has been pressuring me to appear more stable, more settled. They think a relationship would soften my image, make investors see me as someone building for the long term. And, he hesitated, I'm tired of being seen as just a balance sheet. Maybe having someone like you around would remind people I'm human. Someone like me? Real, unimpressed by wealth. Someone who'd call me out if I acted like an entitled ass. A slight smile. That paper you wrote? You ripped apart 3 investment strategies that my competitors swore by. You weren't afraid to be right even when everyone else said you were wrong. I respect that. Maya studied him, trying to see past the handsome face and expensive suit to the person underneath. What she saw surprised her. Loneliness, carefully hidden, but there nonetheless. Ethan Carter had everything money could buy, but she suspected he had very few people who saw him as anything other than a walking bank account. If I agreed, Maya said slowly, and that's a massive if, there would have to be rules. Name them. First, we're honest with each other. No games, no manipulation. If either of us wants out before the 3 months, we can walk away. Agreed. Second, my career is mine. I don't want favors, don't want you interfering with my work or making calls to get me promoted. If I advance, it's because I earned it. Done. Third, Maya took a breath. No falling in love. That's not what this is. We both have to remember that. Something flickered in Ethan's expression, but he nodded. No falling in love. And fourth, When this ends, we end it publicly and cleanly. No drama, no blame. We just move on. I can live with that. Ethan extended his hand across the table. So, Maya Chun, will you be my girlfriend for the next 3 months? Maya stared at his hand. This was crazy. This could blow up in her face spectacularly. Derek would probably accuse her of gold digging. Her colleagues might whisper about favoritism. And at the end of 3 months, she'd have to untangle herself from a life she'd only been borrowing. But when she thought about going back to her apartment tonight, alone, knowing Derek had tried to humiliate her again and might try again and again, she took Ethan's hand. 3 months, not a day longer. His fingers closed around hers, warm and firm. Not a day longer, he agreed. They shook on it, and as their hands clasped across the candlelit table, Maya wondered if she'd just made the best decision of her life or the worst. Outside the windows, fireworks suddenly exploded across the harbor, painting the sky in brilliant colors. The timing was almost too perfect, like the universe itself was commenting on their arrangement. I should warn you, Ethan said, still holding her hand. This will move fast. By tomorrow morning, our kiss will be everywhere. Reporters will dig into your life. Some of what they find won't be flattering. Let me guess, my modest upbringing, my ordinary education, my complete lack of social media presence. Probably. Can you handle that? Maya thought about Derek's words. You were always too ordinary for someone like me. Maybe it was time to redefine what ordinary meant. I can handle it, she said. Can you handle having a girlfriend who won't pretend to be someone she's not? Ethan smiled, a real smile that reached his eyes. I'm counting on it. They finished dinner as the fireworks continued, talking about everything from market trends to favorite books to the absurdity of yacht parties. By the time dessert arrived, Maya had almost forgotten this was a business arrangement. Ethan was funny, sharp, surprisingly down-to-earth despite his billions. Almost made it easy to forget rule number 3, no falling in love. Maya's phone started ringing at 6:47 a.m. She groaned, reaching blindly for it from her bed, squinting at the screen through sleep-crusted eyes. 43 missed calls, 67 text messages. Her social media notifications had exceeded the app's counting capacity and just showed 99 plus. She sat up, suddenly wide awake. The first image that loaded made her stomach drop. It was her and Ethan on the yacht's upper deck, locked in that kiss. The photographer had caught them perfectly. The way Ethan cradled her face, the way Maya's hand clutched his shirt, the city lights sparkling behind them like they were the center of the universe. The headline read, Tech mogul Ethan Carter's mystery woman. Who is Maya Chun? Maya scrolled through article after article. Some were relatively kind, calling her refreshingly normal and surprisingly down-to-earth. Others were less generous, gold digger or genuine. The truth about Carter's new girlfriend, from cubicle to yacht, Maya Chen's Cinderella story, and worst of all, former boyfriend reveals she always wanted more. That last one quoted Derek extensively. He'd apparently given a phone interview to a gossip blog at 2 a.m., claiming Maya had always been obsessed with wealth and status, and that he wasn't surprised she'd upgraded to a billionaire. Maya felt sick. Her phone rang again. This time she answered. Lisa, do not read the comment sections, Lisa interrupted. I repeat, do not read the comments. Some people are idiots. Focus on the good ones. There are good ones. About 60% are positive. They think you're pretty. They like that you're not a model or actress. They appreciate that Ethan looks genuinely happy in the photos. The other 40% are just jealous. Maya flopped back onto her pillows. Derek gave an interview. Derek's an ass who's mad that you moved on. Nobody believes him except people who want to believe him. Lisa paused. Have you talked to Ethan? As if summoned, Maya's phone buzzed with a new call. Ethan Carter. She switched lines. Good morning, his smooth voice came through. I'm guessing you've seen the news. All of it. Derek's doing interviews now. I know. My PR team sent me everything at 6 this morning. He didn't sound concerned. How are you holding up? Maya paused, taking stock. Weirdly okay, actually. Some of it stings, but mostly I'm just amazed how fast this spread. Welcome to dating a public figure. It only gets more intense from here. There was a smile in his voice. I'm sending a car for you at 9. We need to meet with my PR team and get ahead of this. Ethan, I have work. I called your boss. You're taking personal days for the rest of the week. Maya sat up. You did what? Relax. I explained that you're dealing with a personal situation involving media harassment. I didn't mention me at all. He was very understanding and suggested you take the time you need. He paused. I promise not to interfere with your career, and I won't. But right now, you have cameras following you. Go to work would just bring the circus to your office. Maya wanted to argue, but he was right. Her colleagues didn't deserve to be caught in this media storm. Fine, she said. 9 o'clock. But I'm not wearing anything fancy. Wear whatever makes you comfortable. See you soon. The car that arrived at 8:55 was understated by Billionaire standards, a sleek black sedan with tinted windows. The driver opened her door without comment, and they pulled away from her modest apartment building, leaving behind 2 photographers who'd been camped outside since dawn. Carter Industries headquarters was a stunning glass tower in the heart of Hong Kong's financial district. Maya had passed it hundreds of times, but never imagined she'd enter through the private executive entrance, bypassing security entirely. Ethan met her in his office, which occupied the entire top floor and had views that made her apartment's window seem like a joke. He was in business casual today, dark jeans and a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled up, looking like he'd stepped out of an aspirational lifestyle blog. Coffee, he offered, gesturing to a setup that looked more like a cafe than an office coffee station. Please. As he made her coffee, remembering without asking that she took it black, his PR director entered. Catherine Wong was a sharp-eyed woman in her 50s who looked like she could negotiate world peace before lunch. Maya Chun, Catherine said, shaking her hand firmly. I've been in crisis management for 23 years, and I can say with certainty, this is not a crisis. It's a complication. They sat at a conference table, and Catherine laid out several tablets showing different news sites and social media reactions. The good news is that public opinion is largely in your favor. Ethan's fans like that he's dating someone normal. The bad news is that your ex-boyfriend is trying to control the narrative, and some outlets are running with his version of events. So what do we do? Maya asked. Nothing for now. Catherine smiled at Maya's surprised expression. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but responding too quickly makes you look defensive. Instead, we let people see you two together naturally. No stage photo ops, no exclusive interviews. Just exist as a couple. That's it. That's it. Derek Lee's credibility will crumble on its own. He's already contradicted himself in 3 separate interviews. Meanwhile, every photo of you and Ethan looking genuinely happy undermines his narrative. Ethan leaned back in his chair. What Catherine's politely saying is that the best revenge is living well. I can work with that, Maya said. Catherine pulled up a calendar on one of the tablets. You have a charity gala this weekend, Ethan. The annual Children's Hospital fundraiser. I was planning to skip it, Ethan said. Don't, Maya interjected. Both of them looked at her in surprise. Sorry, but if we hide, it looks like we have something to hide. If we show up together, confident and unbothered, it sends a message. Catherine's smile widened. I like her, Ethan. She's smart. Live. I know, Ethan said, his eyes on Maya with an expression she couldn't quite read. The next few days were surreal. Maya stayed at her own apartment. Ethan had suggested his penthouse would be safer from photographers, but she'd refused, needing her own space, but they saw each other daily. Lunches at quiet restaurants where Ethan seemed to know exactly which places valued discretion. Evening walks along the harbor where they talked about everything except the media circus around them. And slowly, Maya began to relax. Ethan was different from Derek in every way that mattered. He asked her opinions and actually listened. When she suggested improvements to one of his company's investment strategies, he forwarded her ideas to his team. When she admitted she was nervous about the upcoming gala, he didn't dismiss her concerns or tell her she was being silly. He just took her hand and said, "We'll face it together." The night before the gala, Derek tried one last time. A text message that somehow got through to her new number. You're making a fool of yourself. He'll get bored and you'll be yesterday's news. Just like you were with me. Maya stared at the message for a long time. 6 months ago, those words would have destroyed her, would have confirmed every insecurity, every fear that she wasn't good enough. Now, they just made her angry. She forwarded the message to Ethan with a single line: "My ex is charming as ever." His response came immediately. "Want me to have him escorted to Antarctica? I know people." Maya laughed, the sound surprising her. "Tempting, but I'll handle it." She blocked Derek's number, deleted the message, and went to bed early. Tomorrow was a new beginning. A charity gala where she'd walk in on Ethan Carter's arm, wearing a dress that cost more than her monthly salary. Ethan had insisted on providing it, facing down every person who thought she didn't belong. Maybe she didn't belong. Maybe this was all temporary, a 3-month arrangement that would end as quickly as it began. But for now, for tonight, she was going to stop questioning it and just... The grand ballroom of the Mandarin Hotel glittered like something from a fairy tale. Crystal chandeliers cast rainbow prisms across hundreds of guests in designer gowns and custom tuxedos. A string quartet played soft classical music, while waiters circulated with champagne and canapes that were probably worth more per bite than Maya's lunch budget for a week. Maya stood in front of the full-length mirror in the hotel's private dressing room, barely recognizing herself. The gown Ethan had sent over was a masterpiece, deep sapphire silk that brought out her eyes, with delicate beading across the bodice that caught the light with every movement. Her hair was swept up in an elegant twist, with a few strategic strands framing her face. The stylist Ethan had insisted on hiring had worked magic. "You look like a princess," Lisa said from the doorway. She'd come as moral support, though she wasn't attending the gala itself. A really expensive, knock-them-dead princess. "I feel like an imposter," Maya admitted, smoothing down the silk for the 100th time. "Good. That means you're doing it right." Lisa squeezed her shoulder. "Go show them who Maya Chen really is." Ethan was waiting in the hallway outside, and the look on his face when he saw her made Maya's breath catch. He stared for a full 3 seconds before seeming to remember how to speak. "Maya," he said softly, "you're stunning. You clean up nice yourself," she managed, though nice didn't begin to cover it. Ethan, in a perfectly tailored tuxedo, was unfairly attractive. He offered his arm. "Ready? Not even a little bit." "Good. The best things happen when we're terrified." They descended the grand staircase into the ballroom together, and Maya felt every I turned toward them. Conversation didn't stop exactly, but it definitely quieted as people registered their entrance. Phones appeared, angles were adjusted for the perfect shot, and somewhere a society reporter was probably already typing their headline. But Ethan kept his hand steady on her back, guiding her through the crowd with easy confidence. He introduced her to CEOs and celebrities, philanthropists and politicians, and every single time he said, "My girlfriend Maya," with such genuine pride that she almost believed it herself. An hour into the evening, Catherine Wong appeared at Maya's elbow. "You're a natural at this," she murmured. "Half the room is charmed, the other half is intensely jealous, and both reactions work in your favor. I'm just trying not to trip in these heels." "Well, you're doing it with remarkable grace." Catherine's sharp eyes scanned the room. "Fair warning, Derek Lee is here. Different charity board, apparently. He's been watching you both for the past 20 minutes. Maya's stomach tightened. "Of course he is. Ignore him. He's with Vanessa Wong, but she looks bored, and he looks miserable." Catherine smiled. "The best revenge really is living well." Ethan returned with champagne, and they made their way to their assigned table. Dinner was a multi-course affair that Maya barely tasted, too aware of eyes still watching them, of Derek's presence somewhere in the room, of the cameras that captured their every interaction. But as the evening progressed, something shifted. Ethan made her laugh with whispered commentary about the more pompous guests. When an elderly philanthropist mistook her for a celebrity and asked for a selfie, Maya graciously obliged, and Ethan's quiet chuckle told her he was impressed by her composure. During the charity auction, Ethan bid on and won a weekend at a Bali resort. "For us," he whispered to Maya, and the casual intimacy of those words sent warmth through her chest. It was during the dancing portion of the evening that Derek finally made his move. Maya was returning from the restroom when she found him blocking her path in the quiet corridor outside the ballroom. Maya, he said, and she was struck by how small he seemed now. Not physically, he was still tall, still handsome, but diminished somehow, like a photograph that had faded in the sun. Derek, excuse me. She moved to step around him. Wait, please. Something in his voice made her pause. I wanted to apologize. For the interviews, for the yacht party, for everything. Maya studied him carefully. His perfectly styled hair, his designer tux, his practiced expression of remorse. She'd seen this performance before. During their relationship, whenever he'd hurt her and wanted to smooth things over without actually changing. Why? She asked simply. Because I was wrong. I was angry and jealous, and I lashed out. Seeing you with Carter. He ran a hand through his hair. I realized what I lost. You didn't lose me, Derek. You threw me away. I know, and I'm sorry. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. But it's not too late. Whatever arrangement you have with Carter, it can't be real. Men like him don't actually end up with women like me? Maya finished coolly. You've said that before. Multiple times, actually. It was your favorite way to keep me small. Derek's expression flickered. That's not what I meant. Yes, it is. It's exactly what you meant. Maya felt something crystallize inside her. Clarity, finally, after months of doubt. You needed me to believe I wasn't good enough, so I'd never leave. So I'd always be grateful that someone like you would settle for someone like me. Maya, but here's what I've learned these past few weeks. You were wrong. Not about whether Ethan and I are real or not. That's none of your business. But about me. I'm good enough. I always was. I just couldn't see it while I was with you. She saw the moment he realized he'd lost this negotiation. His expression hardened back into the familiar sneer. You're going to regret this. When he dumps you and your tabloid fodder, don't come crying to me. I won't, Maya said simply. Goodbye, Derek. She walked past him, head high, and didn't look back. Ethan was waiting just inside the ballroom entrance, his expression dark. I saw him corner you. Are you okay? I'm perfect, Maya said, and realized she meant it. Dance with me? He took her hand without question, leading her onto the dance floor as a slow song began. They moved together naturally now, having done this before, and Maya let herself relax into his embrace. What did he want? Ethan asked quietly. To tell me I'm making a mistake, that you and I aren't real. And what did you tell him? Maya looked up, meeting Ethan's intense gaze. That it was none of his business. Something shifted in Ethan's expression. Surprise? Maybe, or something deeper. His hand tightened slightly on her waist. Maya, can I ask you something? Of course. Why did you agree to this arrangement? The real reason. Maya considered the question as they turned slowly. Around them, other couples danced, the ballroom sparkled, the world continued. But in this moment, it felt like only the two of them existed. At first, she said honestly, because I wanted to prove Derek wrong. I wanted to show him I could be more than what he said I was. That I could belong in places he said I never would. And now, Maya hesitated, then decided honesty was the only option. Now I'm not sure anymore. These past few weeks with you, the dinners, the conversations, the way you actually listen when I talk about my work, it stopped feeling like pretend somewhere along the way. Ethan's eyes darkened. For me, too. The admission hung between them, heavy with implications. This was dangerous territory. They'd agreed. No falling in love. Clean break after 3 months. No complications. But standing there in Ethan's arms, Maya realized they'd already crossed that line. Maybe that first night on the yacht. Maybe during one of their long dinners. Maybe in 100 small moments when she'd stopped remembering this was supposed to be fake. This breaks rule 3, Maya whispered. Spectacularly, Ethan agreed. What do we do about it? Before Maya could answer, the music ended and the charity's director took the microphone to announce the evening's fundraising total. They broke apart, applauding with everyone else, but the question remained suspended between them. The rest of the gala passed in a blur. Photos were taken, donations were celebrated, speeches were made. Through it all, Maya was hyper-aware of Ethan beside her, the warmth of his hand on her back, the way he leaned close to whisper commentary, the looks he gave her when he thought she wasn't paying attention. By the time they left, stepping into the cool night air where Ethan's car waited, Maya's mind was spinning. Your place or mine? Ethan asked as they settled into the back seat. Ethan, we need to talk. I know. He took her hand, threading their fingers together. But not here. Come to my place? Just to talk. I promise. Maya nodded, and they drove through Hong Kong's glittering streets in comfortable silence. Ethan's penthouse was exactly what Maya expected. Floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist furniture, art that probably cost more than her annual salary. But it also had unexpected touches. Bookshelves crammed with dog-eared paperbacks, a guitar in the corner, framed photos of what looked like his parents. He poured them wine, and they sat on the balcony. The city spread below them like scattered diamonds. So, Ethan said finally, we broke Rule 3. Catastrophically, Maya agreed. The question is, what do we do about it? Maya sipped her wine, gathering her thoughts. When we started this, I thought I knew what I was doing. 3 months, a clean break, move on with my life. Simple. And now I'm terrified, she admitted. Because this isn't simple anymore. You're not simple. You're brilliant and funny and surprisingly kind, and somewhere between fake dates and real. Conversations, I started falling for you. Ethan set down his wine glass and turned to face her fully. Maya, I need to tell you something. That first night on the yacht, when I said I intervened because I knew Derek's type, that was true, but it wasn't the whole truth. What do you mean? I noticed you the moment you boarded. Before Derek, before anything. You were standing by the railing, looking at the city like you were seeing it for the first time, and I thought. He paused. I thought you were the most genuinely present person I'd seen in years. Everyone else was performing, but you were just being. Maya's breath caught. So yes, Ethan continued. I stepped in because Derek was harassing you. But I kissed you because I wanted to. The arrangement we made afterward, the 3-month timeline, that was me trying to be rational about something I already knew wasn't rational. I was already interested. I just convinced myself it was practical. Why didn't you tell me? Because you needed time to heal from Derek. Because pushing for something real when you were vulnerable felt wrong. He took her hand. But Maya, these past few weeks, getting to know you, watching you come into your power, falling asleep thinking about our conversations, and waking up planning excuses to see you. This isn't fake for me. It hasn't been for a while. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. So what do? We had rules. We had a plan. Plans change. Ethan cupped her face gently, the same way he had that first night. We can end this right now. Honor our original agreement. Walk away clean. Or we could tear up the contract and try something terrifying and messy and real. No timeline, no rules except honesty. Just us figuring this out as we go. Maya's heart hammered. Everything logical in her screamed this was too fast, too risky, too much. She'd just gotten out of a relationship that destroyed her. She was supposed to be healing, not diving into something even more complicated. But when she looked at Ethan, really looked at him, she didn't see Derek's manipulation or control. She saw someone who'd given her space to be herself, who'd supported without smothering, who'd made her laugh until her cheeks hurt and challenge her ideas without dismissing them. She saw someone who might actually see her. I'm terrified, she whispered. Me too, Ethan said. But I'd rather be terrified with you than safe without you. Maya laughed, a sound caught between tears and joy. That might be the least romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. I'm a tech entrepreneur. Romance isn't exactly my forte. He smiled. But I'm willing to learn if you're willing to teach me. What about the media? The pressure? 3 months was already intense. Dating you for real would be even worse. Probably, Ethan admitted. But we'll face it together. And Maya, if it ever becomes too much, if you ever want out, just say the word. No judgment. No pressure. I'd rather lose you gracefully than watch you suffer. It was that promise, not of forever, but of freedom, that decided her. Derek had caged her with demands and expectations. Ethan was offering her wings. Okay, Maya said softly. Let's try terrifying. Ethan's smile was brilliant, transforming his usually controlled expression into something young and hopeful. Yeah, yeah, but I want to keep my apartment, and I'm still paying my own bills. And if you ever... He kissed her, cutting off her list of requirements with lips that were warm and certain and nothing like that first performance on the yacht. This kiss was private, personal, achingly real. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Ethan rested his forehead against hers. For the record, he murmured, I'm keeping a list of all your requirements. I plan to honor every single one. Maya laughed. You're ridiculous. You like it? Unfortunately, I really do. They stayed on the balcony, talking until dawn, painted the sky pink, making plans that had nothing to do with media strategy or public perception. Just two people figuring out how to build something real from a foundation of pretend. 3 months later, Maya stood in her new office, still at Bright Star Financial, but with a promotion she'd earned through a presentation so impressive that even her most skeptical colleagues had applauded, reviewing market data for her next report. Her phone buzzed with a text from Ethan. Lunch? I promise actual food, not another business meeting disguised as a date. She smiled, typing back. You're learning. Pick me up at 1. The media attention had faded somewhat, though they were still occasionally photographed. Maya had learned to ignore most of it, responding only when necessary and living her life on her own terms. Derek had disappeared from public commentary after Ethan's lawyers sent a cease and desist letter. Last Maya heard, he and Vanessa had broken up, and he'd moved to Singapore for work. She felt nothing about that news, except relief it was finally over. Her phone rang. Ethan, not texting now, but calling. Miss me already? She answered. Always. His voice was warm. But I'm actually calling because I need your advice on something. Professional or personal? Both. There's a startup pitching me tomorrow, financial technology sector. I want your analysis before I meet with them. Send me the prospectus. I'll review it tonight. You're incredible, you know that? I'm a financial analyst doing what financial analysts do. You're my brilliant girlfriend who also happens to be an exceptional financial analyst, Ethan corrected. There's a difference. Maya felt warmth spread through her chest. Even after 3 months, hearing him call her his girlfriend without pretense or arrangement still made her heart skip. Flattery will get you everywhere, she said. I'm counting on it. See you at 1. I love you. The words still surprised her, even though he'd said them a dozen times since that night on his balcony. Love you too. After hanging up, Maya turned back to her market analysis, but couldn't quite suppress her smile. Her life hadn't turned into a fairy tale. There were still challenges, still moments of doubt, still days when the pressure of dating someone famous felt overwhelming. But it was real, messy and complicated and terrifying and real. And for Maya Chun, who'd spent so long believing she wasn't good enough for anything special, real was more than enough. It was everything. The end. Thank you so much for reading this complete story. If you enjoyed Maya and Ethan's journey, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing romance stories. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our next upload. Share this story with friends who love romance with a twist. Comment below with your favorite moment from the story. We love hearing from you. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, keep believing in second chances and new beginnings.